Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a lot for subscribing to my channel. Yeah, I do appreciate you guys lots. So before I continue, I just want to show you guys some of my fabrics which I'm going to be using. We're going to be let me just tell you, the meaning of this fabric means more tutorials coming up for you guys next year. So I've got loads of fabric here. This is just like a preview of the fabrics, because more fabrics are coming, and more fabric means more video and tutorials, so which we are going to be cutting. I'm going to be sewing on Stylish Naija YouTube channel, so you guys should hang on to this channel. So if you are new to my channel and you have not subscribed already, I would appreciate if you would unsubscribe and then hit on that bell just beside to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So that's just like basically the essence of hitting on the bell. So guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to cut out fancy back neckline. So if you go through my channel, you find out that I started a series of neckline some time ago, and most of the necklines that I've been doing are actually front and necklines. Most of my subscribers, they've actually been asking about on the back and necklines. So today, that's why I'm going to be showing you. I'm going to be starting this series now of the back and neckline, fancy back necklines. So we're going to be doing the back neckline. So my online classes for December is currently going on for registration. If you're interested and you want to be a part of that class, all you have to do is you send a message to me on WhatsApp. So I'm going to drop my number on the description box, and if you watch through what is scrolling through the screen, and you see the number is also there, so you can still copy it from there. So just send me a message and then I'll give you the details. So let's just get started, guys. Okay guys, so the first back neckline I'm going to be showing you how to draft is actually called a dip and strapped, or a stinged diamond and back neckline. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be showing you. String and diamond and back neckline. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to draft. So in what I'm going to be doing for this video and tutorial, I'm going to draft the front neckline and the back. So with that, so after drafting out the front, you see how the front will look like, but the emphasis for this video is actually the back neckline. And there are some questions that some people, they normally ask, that those necklines that I made in my previous videos, how do you apply them to bustiers? Yes, when I was in fashion school learning how to sew, the way I was actually taught for a bodice, for if you really want to make a good bodice, when drafting out your bodice, you usually don't draft out the neckline. That's after, even if you draft out the neckline, if you're using a pattern, even after drafting out a neckline, you usually don't cut it on your actual fabric. You first of all cut out the basic and bodice. That's, you cut out the full and dress block, even if it is a bustier. What I mean, I'm just going to try to explain. So even if it is a bustier, you find out that if this was a bustier, now you are going to have it like 3 cuts here. This center one, usually that's where the neckline is. We usually don't cut out the neckline. So after coupling, you first of all couple it. That's, you join the front piece and the back piece together. That is when you now bring it and then you cut out your neckline. So with that, you are going to get perfect neckline. If you watch some of my previous videos where I make blouses, you find out that I usually don't cut out necklines on most of my dresses. When I'm making most of my videos, I usually don't cut out necklines. I just draft or cut out. After stitching, you now stitch them. That's, you join them. Once you couple them together, that's the front piece, the 3 piece. That's when you now bring it, you iron it out. That's when you now come and then you insert the neckline. With that, you'll be able to achieve any neckline of your choice. But if you are using the other pattern that as you are cutting, you just cut out the neckline, you won't be able to make out a fancy neckline. That's just the truth. So I'm just going to continue now without much talk. So like I said, the first one we're going to be doing the deep strap, or the string and diamond, which I'm going to use some standard measurement for you to make it easier for you to understand. So for this kind of neckline, when making this neckline, so the shoulder measurement that I'm going to be using for this pattern is actually 14 inches, which is 7 inches. So you see my 7 inches. So when making this kind of neckline, what you put into consideration is the shoulder. You find out that from the picture that I have up there, you find out that the neckline is almost eating through into the shoulder. So what we are going to be using now, we're going to be making use of 6 inches. So because what we have left is just about 1 inch, so this is like 6 inches. And then this is my bust line, this is my under bust, and then this is my, that's the waistline. So we're going to be referencing them as we go along. So this is like the 6 inches, and then this 7 inches, this is just like the tiny part that is going to remain. So you are going to measure how deep you want. So in making this kind of neckline, the first, once you measure your 6 inches, you are going to measure out the front neckline, because the back and the front, they have to be the same at the width. Because the back neckline is deep, the front neckline has to be shallow. It has to be small. That's the depth has to be small, or else you won't be able to put on that dress. That's the mistake that most people make. They cut out deep back necklines and then deep the front neckline. At the end of the day, it will start falling off from the shoulder. So for this, what I'm going to be using for the front neckline, I'm going to be making use of about 1.5 inches. That's for the front and neckline. So this is my 6 inches. So I'm just going to make like a canoe neckline, because in making this kind of pattern, this kind of necklines, obviously it's canoe neckline that will be in the front. So this is like the front neckline. And then for the back, you are just going to measure out how deep you want the diamond and neckline, how deep you want it to be. So for this, I'm going to be using a little bit and below. I'm going to be using my bust line point, which is like about 10 inches. So this is like my 10 inches and mark. So I'm just going to continue with this mark. And so from this point now, you are going to measure. Okay, before we continue, I'm going to mark out my zipper allowance point, which I'm going to be making use of 1 inch. So this line here, this side is my zipper allowance, because it is a back and neckline. So the next thing we're going to do, so like I said I'm making use of 10 inches, and then this is 10 inches. So I'm just going to mark it like this, and then I'm going to come to this point. So this is my 6 inches. So I have about 1 inch left here. So from this 1 inch point now, I'm just going to measure 9 inches. From this point, I'm going to measure 9 inches. So this is like my 9 inches. So you see the way I'm positioning it, this is my 9 inches. So from this 9 inches point like this, I'm just going to do this. I'm just using dotted lines just to make it easier for you. So I'm going to come to my 9 inches, and then from this 9 inches point, I'm going to be coming to this 10 inches point. So here's what I'm going to do. So from this point like this, I'm just going to be coming like this. So you see what I'm doing. So this is like a curve here, which you are going to use if you want to, because you know it's 9 inches, so 1 inch. So you see the 1 inch, and then you're just going to back flip it, because it is a diamond neckline, and then it's going to come to this point. So I'm going to use my pattern and to measure, to mark it out for you, so you really understand it. So you're just going to, so for the back, it's a little bit and curve, not very deep. You can decide to make it deep, so it depends on how you really want it. So I've curved that part out, and then I'm going to curve this part out also like this, and then I'm just going to complete it with my straight and ruler like this. So this is the front neckline, and then this is the back. So I'm going to cut out the front neckline first. So this is the zipper allowance. When we're done, we'll fold it. So you have to cut the back neckline and the front neckline together. So this is the front neckline. So this is the front neckline. Then we're going to cut out the back neckline now. So, and then I'm going to fold the zipper allowance point. And then I'm going to open up. So you see what we have. So at the end of the day, this is how it's going to be. So this is how the back is going to be for the diamond and neckline. This is how the back is going to be, and then the front is going to be that and shallow and round neckline. So we're done with this first one. So the next one I'm going to be doing, the next neckline I'm going to be doing is called deep and fish and keyhole. So that's the second fancy back neckline that I'm going to be doing, is a deep and fish keyhole. So this neckline, I'm going to be showing you how to draft the front also, and then the back. So it has a collar in front, so the front is like basically like a turtled and neckline. So the first thing you are going to still put into consideration, you are going to put your bust line into consideration, your under bust, and then your waist line. And then I'm going to mark out the zipper allowance and point also. So this is the zipper allowance point, and then we're going to, because it is a turtled neckline, so for the front and neckline we're going to be making use of about 3 inches or 2.5. If it is somebody that is slim, you use 2.5, but somebody that is a little bit like my size, you can use somebody that is bigger than me, you can use 3 inches. So I'm just going to mark 3 inches here for the front, and then I'm going to come like this. I'm going to measure, I'm going to use, because since it is a turtled and neck, that's the front, I'm going to use the 1.5 also. So I'm just going to mark out, or 1 inch, you can even make use of, I'm going to make use of 1 inch, not 1.5. I'm going to mark it out like this. So this is for the front and neckline. So the next thing, so for the back, so you are going to determine how deep you actually want. So for this neckline, we're going to be, what you are going to do now, I'm going to use my shoulder measurement. So from this point like this, you're going to determine how wide you want this top part to be. So I'm going to be making use of 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to come to this top point like this. I'm going to use 3.5 inches. So the next thing you are going to put into consideration, you are going to mark, so this, I'm going to fold in the zipper allowance point so that you understand what I'm doing properly. So the zipper allowance point is inside. So you are going to determine how wide you actually want the keyhole to be. So, and then how deep you also want it to be. So for this, I'm going to be making use of about 11 inches or 10 inches. So let me just stick with 10 inches, which is like, I'm very modest. For any back and neckline, 10 inches is just like perfect. So this is 10 inches. So the next thing, so from this 10 inches point, you are going to determine how wide you actually want and the keyhole to be. So for this, I think I'm going to be making use of about 3 inches or 3.5. So I'm just going to mark it from this point like this. So you just put it in the center and measure out your 3 inches. And then from the 3 inches, you are just going to use dotted lines up to the 10 inches point like this to come like this. And then we're coming to the top of the neckline, that's the tip. So you're just going to come like this. So you can decide to come like this. So you can decide, so for the top part I have about 1 inch, so you can make it deeper. So it depends on you, you can actually make it deeper. So this is what I have. So this is just like drawing like half and circle for this. So I'm just going to mark it like this. So you see at the back neckline. So I'm going to cut out the front now. So this is like the front, because this round part, that's the turtled neck part, is both for the, you are going to cut the back and the front the same. So I'll cut out the front and the back neckline like this. So you open it up, because I'm going to be putting a collar here, and then I'm going to cut out the keyhole part now. So you're just going to come like this now. So at the end of the day, so you see what we have at the back. So that was what I was telling you, that 10 inches. When you use 10 inches, 10 inches is just very decent. But if you feel that 10 inches is too small, you can decide to take it up to your under and bust and line. So all you have to do is just follow the same pattern and just go with the flow. So you see the back. So at the end of the day, you are going to be replacing, and for the front and the back, you are just going to use a collar. That's just a tiny round collar to connect the back and the front together. So you see, this is the back, and then the front neckline is still round like this, and you are going to just use a collar to connect it. And then this point for this back, you are going to add just like a button, a tiny button to it. So that's just like basically for this back neckline. It's really simple and it is easy and very fancy. So the third neckline we're going to be drafting is actually the tier and keyhole. You can also call it a pyramid, keyhole. You can also call it a pyramid. So for this this pattern of neckline also is this one. It also has a collar in front. So we're going to be drafting the front and the back and neckline and together also. So I'm just bringing out the our zipper allowance and part. So this is for our zipper allowance. So for the front and the back part, we're still going to make use of our 2.5 or 3 inches and width for the top part of the neckline. So I'm just going to use 3 inches here. And then for the depth, I actually used one inch for this one. So I'm going to use 1.5 for this. So I'm just going to like mark it out. So I ate into my zipper allowance part. So that is why it's always good to fold it out. So I'm just going to fold it and do that again. So I'm going to measure out the 3 inches now. My zipper allowance is folded inside already. So this is like my 3 inches and mark. So I'm just going to curve it out already. So this is going to be for the front. So for the front and the back and neckline, this is the part, that's the top part of the neckline. So the next thing you are going to put into consideration, you are going to determine how really wide you want to have on the shoulder, on the side and part. So I'm just going to come to this point like this. I'm going to measure 3.5. That 3.5 inches, you see what I'm doing, I'm going to tilt it towards the 3 inches and back and neckline. So you see what I'm doing, I'm just going to create, okay, so this is my 3.5, and then my neckline, back neckline is actually and front neckline is actually 3 inches. So I'm just going to mark like this. So you see what I have, I like have a slant. So I'm going to come to the down part. You are going to determine how wide you actually want it to, the pyramid and part to be. You are going to determine. So I'm going to make use of about 5 inches. You use about 5 inches or 5.5. So it depends on how wide you actually want it to be. So this I've marked it. So I'm using the depth I'm using 10 inches of my bust line, under bust, and then waist line. So I'm using the same 10 inches that I've been using. Like I said, it is like it is very decent and easy. Okay, I think this back part, sorry, this part I should reduce it to 3 inches. 3 inches will just be ideal. So let's make use of 3 inches. So no more 3.5. So we're using 3 inches for the top, and then for the down we're using 5 inches. So for the down we're using 5.5 inches. So I'm just going to mark it like this. So I'll connect it like this to this point like this. So this is my 5.5 inches and then 3 inches. So you see we already have the shape. So for this part now, you are going to mark it out, but this we're going to be dipping it a bit. So I'm just going to come, so I'm going to use about 1 inch from this point like this, or half an inch. I'm just going to mark half an inch from this point, and then I'm going to create a curve. I'm going to create a curve from this point. So this point is not going to be straight like that. That's this down part. So you see I've created a curve. I just use like 1/4 of an inch, just coming by about 1/4 of an inch. This you can decide to do it however you want to do it. So for this down part, I'm going to mark it to this 10 inches to my 10 inches point. So from this point like this, I'm just going to come up by half an inch. So I'm going to come up by half an inch. So you can decide to curve, you can decide to leave it straight and like this, or you can decide if you want it curvy, you can decide to curve it out. So it depends on what you want, really. So I'm going to cut it out now to see what we have. So I'll cut out the top part, that's the front part, and then the back part, and then I'm going to cut out this part like this. So you see what we have here. So like as I was saying, if you want this side to be curved, you can decide to make it curved. So it depends on what you actually want. So what I'm going to do now, you are going to cut out a collar which you are going to use. So I'm just so at the end of the day, you are just going to add a collar to it, and then you are going to use to connect the back and the front. So this neckline and this one, they almost look as similar, but they are not the same. So this one, I forgot to say it at the end of the day, you are just going to create a rope that you are going to put just to knot it at the back. So we're going to do the final neckline now, which the final neckline that we're doing is a deep U neckline. This is just like the easiest, so that was why I actually kept it to the last, to the last seriously. So this is my bust line, my under bust, and then my waist line. So for this, and this is just like a very popular neckline. So when doing this kind of neckline also, so from the picture you see there, you are going to put the front neckline into consideration. So for this, we are using shoulder of 7 inches. We are going to use neckline, we are going to use the width we are going to use for the front and the back neckline is going to be 6 inches. So this is like 6 inches width, and then we are going to use 2 inches depth for the front neckline for this. Otherwise, if you make it the front neckline to be too deep, at the end of the day the dress will be falling out from the shoulder. So you are going to use about 2 inches like this. So and then the next thing we are going to you are going to measure out, you are going to mark out how deep you actually want and the back to be. You are going to mark it out. So you are going to mark it out. So we have the front neckline. So we're going to maintain the same width both for the back and the front. And then, you know, I'm using 10 inches. So for this, you can decide to make it a little bit deeper. So you can decide to use about 11 inches. So I'm going to use about 11 inches. So this 11 inches, it is really simple. All you have to do is just make a big circle, like your mother's cooking pot that we used to sing when we were babies. So you see, you're just going to make a deep circle up to the 11 points that you measure. So you could decide to measure and this part. So because this part is actually 6 inches. Okay, I'm so sorry, I didn't mark out my my zipper allowance and part. So because this is actually back and neckline. So you still use the same measurement that I've been using, which is 6 inches. Just use 1 inch less than your shoulder and measurement. You understand? 1 inch or 1.5 inch less. Just use that. So if your shoulder is 14 inches, use 13. If your shoulder, or you use 12.5. If your shoulder is 18 inches, you can use 16.5 or you use 17. So just use it that way, and then you get it perfectly well. So I'm just going to curve it like this, and then we'll cut out. So we're almost done with this illustration. So I'm just going to cut out on this part. So this is the front neckline. It is a boat neckline. It has to be very slim, as in not tall. Then we're going to cut out our curve. So at the end of the day, so you see the back. It is beautiful, right? So guys, I'm just going to lay out all of my necklines now for you to see. We're almost done. So you could see all of our necklines at the end of the day. So if you actually find this video illustration helpful, please do not hesitate to hit on the like button. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, stylishnaija YouTube channel, if you have not done so already. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you.